I've been looking around my selection of boxes and things, and I've got one of these drawer units. I think it's probably from the Swedish furniture shop originally, but it has been painted a number of times. It's had some vibrant green on it, some army grey, and all manner of colours on here. But it is really quite sturdy. It's got a hardboard base and very thick walls, which makes a change because some of these are quite flimsy. So I think I'm going to do something with this one. It's been kind of stuck in the corner and it's covered in spider webs and things, so I do need to give it a good overall sanding anyway to get rid of a lot of this paint before I start anything. But what I've also got is some offcuts of this really nice olive coloured leather. I think that will work nicely with some very small brass pins. Okay, best laid plans never quite work. That's not the word, that's not the phrase, but never mind. I've got to this stage and I've realised that I'm putting too much width on the sides of the drawers because they're now not going to fit in the base, which is a problem. I think I'm going to end up having to do some drastic surgery to the base, which will be interesting. Okay, so initial surgery is completed. I've taken off the back piece here, so I've got a piece of this same plywood which is around about 4 or 5 mil thick, which is just what I need as a spacer to replace bits and pieces. It's also got plenty of burn marks, so that needs to be worked out. Okay, so I have to admit this is probably the ugliest bit of woodworking I've done to date, but I've added a good 4 or 5 mil on the middle width on the middle height and the width, so there's still an awful edge on each of these joins, but they are fairly solid. So all I'm doing now is just gluing together. I've made sure my dowels all line up and there's plenty of room in the drill holes for the dowels to go into, so hopefully they're not going to catch on anything and cause a problem. Now I've said that, so I haven't really done anything about the shape of these spacers because I don't think I would be able to get them all exactly even. So now I'm just working on pressing these down into position, and actually it's not looking too bad. Okay, so I've sanded back and tidied up the edges of the box, and I've made sure that all my drawers now fit. So it's still a bit dusty, but looking at that, it's a fabulous colour. And once I've painted the box, that's going to look really fabulous. So, a quick wipe around just to get rid of any residual dust, and I'm going to go and have a good wash before I move on to any kind of painting on this. I resorted to the old sandpaper on a stick trick, which worked quite well. So I've probably got to work out a more permanent way of doing sandpaper on a stick. And now kind of moving on to my design. Now I started with the very basic Tree of Life kind of tattoo design, and I've kind of worked on it a bit more and kind of given it more of my style. I like spirals rather than just kind of leaving the ends. Okay, so that is finished, pretty much. I've got to still decide on what I'm going to do for the lining. but I'm pretty much there, I think. Ideally I would have put some more pins around, but where this is unsupported in the middle, it bows too much, so I don't really want to play about with that too much, because that's going to cause issues with the bit of surgery I did, which is now not at all visible. So these now fit quite nicely. Some are a little tight, but that's fine. But I'm feeling slightly tighter than too loose. Middle ones are very loose, but over time that's going to sort itself out, I think. So yeah, I've just given it a coat of E45, which is not the traditional thing you'd put on leather, but I think it works just as well as any kind of leather feed. So I'll let that soak in for a bit and then give it a good buffing. And there's a chance that where I put the layer of glue over the thread, that may cause that to fray slightly, but I'll just be a bit careful when I'm rubbing that down. So yeah, that's my Tree of Life drawers finished. I'll see you next week.